Hello, welcome to What's for Tea. We're obviously a podcast that you're watching and or listening to.
Mm-hmm.
We're from YMCA Exeter.
We are.
What this is, we're basically two former support workers here.
Yeah.
Having a chat over tea or, coffee.
Yeah,
in this case.
definitely need it this morning.
Just chatting about navigating life and stuff like that.
Not like we're massive experts.
We're
definitely not experts.
Definitely, definitely not experts in any of that.
Hopefully,
stuff.
our experience, between the two of us, might be able to give advice and tips and things like that might
Mostly
be helpful.
Probably to each other.
Yeah.
But first shout out if anyone wants to feedback about topics and things to cover. Would be happy to.
Yeah, please do.
Please do. But who are we? Now, earlier we talked about how there needs to be an order to this. I think I'm going first, aren't I?
You are, yeah.
Excellent. So, my name is Andy. Worked as a support worker in a few different YMCA locations.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm looking for. Been around for 12 years, not a support worker anymore. Moved into a job where I'm kind of doing stuff like this, as well as kind of website things, content stuff, and basically lots of digital bits and pieces.
Could we say you're YMCA Exeter's influencer? Do you get the influencer title in your job description?
If you want to call me an influencer, that would only be me influencing you into thinking that. So, I guess I would be the influencer because, you obviously think I am.
It's, you're Andy Mackay, the IT guy.
That is one of my many job descriptions.
Little jingle, yeah.
Yes. Who are you?
Who am I?
Who are you?
Who am I? Oh, that sounds like a philosophical question.
Deep,
it's very deep. Who are you? I'm Lydia. I've been a support worker for, I want to say 6 years.
It's only been 6 years?
Yeah. Why'd you say it like that? Like it's been like a life sentence for you?
It just feels like it's been longer.
I know, it does feel like it's been longer. I do feel like I could potentially become part of the furniture scene. But support worker for 6 years, then kind of moved, they trusted me enough to give me some more responsibility. Don't know who thought that was a good idea. So now, I'm a housing coordinator.
It was not me. I'm not trusted enough to make those sorts of responsible.
Aw. I'm now,
That's very wise.
You're gonna let me finish?
Maybe.
I'm now one of the housing coordinators. So basically, I just make sure that the current residents are getting the support that they deserve, and just basically line managing the support workers, running some projects like this one, YMCA alumni. So that's what I've done and what I do.
That's what you do. Did you mention about being the warden?
Oh my goodness, I totally forgot about that. I'm going to cough. I'm really sorry. You mentioned the warden and this is what happened. No, I'm joking. I'm also the warden. So I've been the warden. I moved in 2019, just before lockdown, because that was a good idea.
This is the reason why 6 years threw me so much.
Yeah, lockdown just threw everything. Yeah. I'm the warden, so I live on site, so I'm on call most of the time. It has its upsides and its downsides, more for the residents, I think, downsides of having me on site. But
I'm sure they love it. I'm sure they love,
That's what they might say to my face.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, so that's me with my many different hats.
Cool. So where were you living before you were a warden?
Oh, so I moved out of my parents' house when I was 18.
Okay.
So I went to university.
Right.
Because that's
all the uni life stuff.
People around me. So I was in halls first year, then moved into a house share with some friends. And I think that's its own bubble in itself. It's not really.
Oh, house share was great at
uni. You don't have really any responsibilities apart from doing a uni course. Do you know what I mean? Like you pay your rent.
And rent.
Yeah, but most of the time your bills are included in your rent. That's all. You don't have to worry about it.
All the stuff,
yeah, and you
and
don't.
Washing socks.
That's very specific.
I've just got this random memory of kind of running out of clean socks and deciding to go to Primark to buy some clean socks.
Okay. I never experienced that.
Not the most.
I kept on top of my washing.
Response.
I would say I was a bit of a boring student, really, in terms of like to be in bed by 10.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I know. Really not living the student life. What was that about? But no, living with people there, it's like you're in your own bubble. It's not really, I think, in the real world, whatever that is. And then I graduated university and it was up in the Midlands. So I had to move back home. And conversations with parents was just like staying home and living at home just wasn't an option for me. So I moved into a house share with a family member, actually, which again had its own kind of complications and ups and downs. And then it was just then I house shared with kind of strangers that I didn't really know. So again, it had its own
kind of uni life to house share to house share
to house share
to house share.
Yeah. And then that's had its own up and downs when you're house sharing with people, especially people you don't know. And then they were like, people sat me down and said, the wardenship is coming up. There's we need someone to move in on site. We'd like to offer it to you. And at this point I was done with house sharing, and I was like, my own place.
No more.
Yeah, I was like, I'm going to be a proper adult, have my own place. It's great.
A proper adult.
Proper adult. I don't even think I still have a proper adult.
Come back to that later.
And then I moved on site, and obviously living by myself, I also had the responsibility to be on call, but that's kind of a side thing. But living by myself, I thought it was going to be this great thing. And actually I was really disappointed.
Oh, okay.
I liked it, the fact that, if I cleaned, it'd stay clean. But I thought I would just thrive living by myself. And actually, I struggled with loneliness.
Okay.
So I did what any person would do. I got a cat.
As a dog person.
I'm a cat and dog person.
Yeah, you went for a cat.
Yeah.
Okay. That's
no.
right.
Having a dog is responsible. You have a lot of responsibility.
An accepting person.
Hey, my cat's great. Shout out to Cosmo. He might be watching this at home. I'm not a crazy cat lady, I promise.
Hi, Cosmo. Hey,
Cosmo. So I got a cat because I was just like, having a pet, whether it's a cat, a dog, whatever it is, I was like, it keeps me company, someone to be excited when I get home, gets me out in the bed in the morning because I've got to feed it, look after it. And that really did help. But, you still, I think the difference from house sharing to living by yourself is when you're house sharing, regardless of, the complexities that brings, there was always someone, hey, how are you? How was your day? You could offload all of that. And then I didn't have that. And it was interesting. And, I had to navigate that. And, I learned some lessons in the terms of, being intentional with my time, making sure I'm going out. Like if I don't have any plans, I love reading. So I'll go to a coffee shop and read a book. Like I don't necessarily have to talk to anyone, I have my headphones in. But being around people, you're not just in the same four walls, because that just, brings its own kind of problems. But it was an interesting time. And also, if you're going to do it, don't do it before lockdown. That's what I tell people. I was literally living on site for a year, and then lockdown happened. And then, and I know a lot of people are like, oh, why do people talk about lockdown still? Like, it's been years since it. But I still think it has massive impacts to this day on people and how it affected people, And it was a surreal experience, I think. And I think it brings its own level of trauma for some people. But for me, I was living on site by myself, and I was working, and because I was living on site, I was working a lot without any break. I didn't see anyone outside of work for 3 months in person. And, and there was that level, I guess, of, responsibility I felt like I had for the residents, which was I need to make sure that I'm not meeting other people, like going out for walks, because we had some really vulnerable people that if they got COVID, it was really serious for them. And it was like this unknown thing. So, yeah. And then when good old Boris mentioned the bubbles, for people that were on their own, I felt like a kid at Christmas. And I drove to my parents and I was like, oh my goodness, like this is what freedom feels like. So that kind of, loneliness. So just being intentional with your time when you're living on your own, it's great. But I don't think someone really sat me down and just said, it is great living by yourself, but you are going to experience loneliness. And these are the things that you need to navigate and the things that you need to put in place.
I guess loneliness may not necessarily be something that you can immediately put a label on, because you may not immediately feel a thing and be like, oh, I'm feeling lonely.
Oh, 100%.
It could be more a feeling akin to being depressed. It could be more kind of just being tired, or it could be more actually I have less energy to be around people.
100%. Yeah. And I didn't know it was loneliness at the time. It wasn't until I started putting those things in place and I felt different that I was like, oh, that's what loneliness feels like, and that's what that is. So I definitely wouldn't have labeled it straight away. And I think, loneliness looks different for everyone. And, for me, and I think a lot of people as well with loneliness, like you said, not having energy to meet people and then isolating yourself even more, which then, causes loneliness even more so. So I think the reason I kind of had that like little light bulb moment about talking about it last night, had the light bulb moment, is because I really wish I'd had someone to prepare me for that, talk me through it, because everyone I knew either house shared or was living with a partner or someone. So I didn't really have anyone that kind of experienced it. But I wish there had been something there beforehand so I could have put those plans in place, or even like listening to a podcast where they were talking about it and be like, that's what I'm feeling. Hopefully.
So if you were in that position now and someone was to come along and be like, okay, lady, you're feeling this is the issue. What's the next line that they say? What is the helpful thing that they say to you that is actually helpful and not cliched or the sort of thing that makes you want to just ignore them?
Well, I think the best thing is I don't think, if someone said you should be doing this, I would have shut them down straight away. I think it's just, being, just saying like there's all these different options that you could try, pick what's right for you. So for example, there is, if whatever area you're living in, there is like a Facebook group that you can join, which is like things in your area. They do meetups and things like that. And I joined that. Didn't go on any meetups, but it was nice knowing what was going on in the area. What are your hobbies? What do you like to do that doesn't involve being in the house by yourself? Is that, are you into crafts? Do you want to try a new skill? All these things, make sure you plan your, also plan your time out, with your friends, of making sure you're seeing a friend at least once a week, a different friend. Or family member. For me, I had church as a practicing Christian, so that was helpful as well. So if you are, I mean,
I guess even on a purely practical note, if we go back to what you said earlier about planning your time, that's like stuff like going to church or going to other kind of churchy stuff does kind of neatly complete the whole kind of what do you do with time, having a structure to your time structure to life and things like that.
Yeah, because I think when you're living at home or even at uni, you had structure because you had people telling you need to go to school, go to uni. I think even in like talk about the St. David's Hill project, you go out of your front door, you're bumping into people. There was group work, you met with your support worker. So there was obviously times, I'm sure, where people isolated. There is times people isolate themselves, but you've always got people checking in on you and everything like that. So being very intentional with your time when you're living by yourself, 100%, planning things that you can look forward to as well. And I think as well, like just openly talking to someone about it. I know that's very cliche, but I think it's really important to just, and I was thankful I had a specific friend who was also living by himself, different part of the country, and he was really helpful in giving me some advice and things like that. So talking to someone, because they might be experiencing it themselves and not knowing how to voice that. But yeah, just being intentional with your time, maybe getting a pet if your place allows it. There's various different things.
I'd always suggest dog over a cat.
Fair. I'd have both if I could. And, just going for a walk. If you don't want to meet anyone, just going out for a walk, putting some music on. For me, it's blasting some Taylor Swift. I'm a Swiftie here. So yeah.
Apparently Taylor Swift is life.
She is. I wouldn't go that far. I'm not like an obsessed fan. But going for walks. For me, it was like going to the cinema as well. I'd go to the cinema by myself. I didn't care. It's actually great. You don't have someone talking to you through the movie as well. Yeah. So going to the cinema, just getting out so you're not just at home. You're surrounded by people, not necessarily interacting with them.
Cool.
That would be.
Right. So, guess what I've learned this week?
What did you learn this week, Andy?
So, this kind of newfangled bottle tops that kind of stick to the bottle and it kind of gets in your eye as you kind of drink it.
Oh, I hate those things.
They're great.
I literally drank one yesterday and I got one right in the eye.
For the benefit of everyone out there, we get why it's a thing. It's 100%. A whole kind of it's to kind of cut down like 10% of plastic pollution on beaches or something ridiculous like that. So we are fans of it, honest, but we just don't like it in our eyes. But apparently there's this whole kind of, it's all about how you twist it.
Oh, okay.
And it's about how you kind of open it, kind of twist it around, and I think you kind of twist it around again, so it's kind of pointing downwards.
Oh, okay.
So you kind of got the soft bit kind of pointing it upwards.
Oh, wow.
So if it does kind of get in your eye,
yeah,
sort it. I'm going to put it's the sort of thing I kind of saw just this morning. I'm like, you know what? I want everyone to know this.
Oh, this is a game changer. You've changed my life, Andy.
I'm going to put a note to this article down in the podcast space below.
Because I need to watch this video.
With apologies if that ambulance is being picked up on the mics.
Yeah, perfect timing.
But that's it. That's us done for the podcast.
Yes.
How are you feeling about it? Are you feeling...
I was nervous, so I think I did ramble, so apologies.
I think you've been great.
It was my first ever podcast.
I think Lydia does need some reassurance. So if anyone happened to, say something nice, I think she would appreciate some sort of positive affirmation.
Yeah, Andy did say I had a voice for radio.
Yes, yeah. I did say that, yeah.
At least it wasn't a face for radio.
That would be mean.
It would have been mean.
So, thank you for listening.
Yes,
and
thank
or watching. Find us on all good podcast providers.
Yeah, and if I've always wanted to say this, Andy said I could say it. If you liked today's podcast, please give us a like and leave us a comment if you want to. And just keep an eye out because we've got more content to come.
Take care now. Goodbye.
Take care. Bye.